Hello and welcome. This is Borno Restoration, where we give you updates on development from across Borno State. I am Jesse Tafida. Today on the program, we will talk to residents of Borno to get their views on the successes recorded so far by Governor Babagana Zulum's administration in various sectors of the state, from health to education, security, youth empowerment, and lots more. All this will come your way after we bring you the latest on Borno Today. About 2 million people have been displaced and 10 million are in need of life-saving assistance in Borno State due to the Boko Haram insurgency. Now, in such circumstances, women and girls face challenges in securing their safety as they bear the brunt of sexual and gender-based violence, in addition to no access to education. And victims get little or no psychosocial support due to poor access to healthcare facilities and the fear of stigma. It is against this backdrop that Katai, Casford and Frat Foundation bring together stakeholders from the education sector to brainstorm on how best to improve the enrollment of the girl child into school.
We want to provide an educational facility that is having all the facilities necessary that will contribute significantly for both children, both male and female, to have access to education without issues of gender-based violence. So we are trying to put in mechanism or medium in place that will address all things that will lead to gender-based violence.
We're going to work with the community members, community stakeholders, who ensure that we have improved child participation, improved community participation, to be able to bring an end to or reduce the risk of gender-based violence in communities.
If a child is not engaged, he has been roaming the street, already he's vulnerable. He's vulnerable to child labor, he's vulnerable to abuse, he's vulnerable to exploitation and the rest of them. So as a part of activity in this project, we have back to school campaign, how we can be able to ensure that these people or these children are back to school.
We recognize the vulnerability of children, especially the girls, those who have been impacted, and also children, those who are disabled. They are the most vulnerable children, so they can they do not have the means to go to school when they are in a displacement or on the move.
Stakeholders at the meeting believe that this project will go a long way in providing easy access to education for girls affected by insurgency. The 13-year conflict in the northeast region has resulted to about 1.6 million children to be out of school. That's according to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. The government and humanitarian partners are doing all they can to address issues of out-of-school children. These 600 children have undergone non-formal learning for about 9 months, courtesy of TDH.
In Nigeria, TDH is actually doing a whole lot, especially in Borno State and in northeast Nigeria. TDH is doing so much in terms of education, ensuring that children who are out of school are brought back into school. So our non-formal education program serves as a bridge to connect back children who have been out of school back into formal school. And during this period of 9 months, they undertake several basic subjects such as mathematics, English, basic literacy, Nigerian history and values, and languages.
The children have acquired some level of knowledge that will usher in a new space of learning in their lives.
Matter is anything that has waste and occupies space.
From B1, drug abuse is the wrong and harmful use of drugs.
The Borno State government lauds TDH for the initiative and wants them to extend the program to other parts of the state.
I'm very much convinced with the practical answers that we got from the learners here. This is to show that a very serious teaching and learning has been taking place in this center. Expand the learning centers so that more, since the area is more populated, so that more learners can come in. I'm appealing to you to invite us in any of your occasions.
Awards were presented to deserving students. TDH investment in Borno State prioritized creating sustainable learning solutions for children affected by conflict, which has enabled them to read, write, acquire entrepreneurship skills and being mainstreamed into formal schools across the state. The Nigerian military's deployment of both kinetic and non-kinetic tactics in the fight against insurgency has resulted to relative peace being restored to Borno State. This facilitated the surrender of over 160,000 insurgents and their families to the Nigerian government. And today, a high-powered delegation from Accra Initiative is in the state to get first-hand information on the successes recorded by the non-kinetic approach of the military and the Borno model.
Terrorism threat is not only potent to Nigeria but to the whole sub-region. And it is good that Nigeria has blazing the way in solving this problem. And what they have done and what we have achieved so far is something that it's beyond description.
Only non-kinetic operations can win the peace. And this is what Borno model has showcased. How to win the peace. To win the war, the military has done that. But to win the peace, you need the political will, you need the coordination, you need the cohesive management of resources and the exploration of innovative ideas organic to contextual communities.
The state deputy governor Umar Usman Kadafur disclosed that the Borno model, which comprises of demobilization, de-radicalization, rehabilitation, reconciliation and reintegration, has brought relative peace across the state and facilitated the return of displaced persons to their ancestral homes.
There's a lot of successes because if you look at the numbers of those who have come up from the bush and the relative peace that we have been enjoying now, you yourself would attest to that yes, there's peace. So we have really achieved on these non-kinetic approaches.
In September 2017, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana and Togo initiated the Accra Initiative in reaction to the increasing levels of instability in the region that were associated with violent extremism. Its objectives are to combat transnational organized crime in border regions and stop the spread of terrorism from the Sahel. For the men and officers of the Borno State Police Command, it's another good day. They have been patrolling the state regularly in an effort to eradicate crime, and their efforts have paid off with the arrest of 19 people. The crime ranges from theft, culpable homicide, criminal conspiracy, and armed robbery.
One diesel tanker truck with 4 suspects were arrested by the Nigerian Army Patrol Team attached to 331 Battalion and were brought to Bio Division. The suspects were caught in possession of 70 bags of suspected monoxide substance, despite the ban of illegal mining activities in the state. The suspects were arrested with matches while trying to set a house ablaze in the camp with the matches. Preliminary investigation further led and revealed that the trial were sponsored by one Babagana Umar, a firewood seller at Mona Garage area, Maiduguri, who contracted them to commit the act at the rate of 10,000 naira.
This group of gang specialize in kidnapping for ransom. The police say this has to be dealt with.
This is a clarion call to us to be awakened, for us to try and expand our level of vigilance in the state. We will try to deploy our men and make sure that they do their work and info. We will also reiterate that we will not let that to slip under the carpet. We will do everything in our capacity to make sure that we bring the criminals to book.
Residents are urged to assume responsibility of informing security operatives of any suspicious activities around them, as security is a duty for all. The Borno State Police Command says it will continue its quest of reducing crime in the state. It also assures that the arrested suspects will be charged to court after preliminary investigations are completed so as to serve as deterrent to others.
Actually, if I will start listing projects that Zulum has done that has impacted me and the common man, it is uncountable. But one thing I know that has impacted the common man to the grassroots level is the introduction of mass transit and then the electric taxi within the metropolis. You know, actually with the removal of fuel subsidy, life has become very, very challenging to the common man. But to be sincere, the Zulum's buses and taxis have really touched the common man to the extent that almost everyone is saying, go to the grassroots and ask. Everyone is saying that it is one of the things that a common man knows that there is governance around, because people think that government is not something that has to do with the common man, but this transportation aspect alone has changed the narrative. Now that everyone has been impacted, not only the masses, even wealthy individuals now park their cars and follow the Zulum buses.
Very grateful to our governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, for his effort, because I'm living in Polo, that is Polo High Court. But to my surprise, when I'm about to go to school, I saw a bus there near High Court. Then they are even calling me that the motor is 50 naira, which of sometime in the morning when I'm going to work, I used to pay 200, 300 naira to my destination. But to my surprise today, I pay 50 naira. And now I'm returning from my work now, going to Polo again, and I'm paying 50 naira. What I will tell our Oga, that is Professor Babagana Zulum, we are very grateful because of his effort. More effort, more elbow to his work. We pray that God will comfort him, God will be with him, and also our God will give him a prosperity in life so that he can continue to upgrade this effort that he has done. So we are very, very grateful. We are saying thank you very much.
Allah every citizen of Borno would acknowledge that yes, there is a government in the state. This government is all about service delivery and good governance. We have witnessed quite a reasonable and unquantifiable service delivery in terms of physical as well as policies geared to improve the lots of the citizen. For me, if I'm to take one, certainly I will say the governor's commitment to service delivery and people-centered governance. This has been a hallmark of Governor Zulum. However, to talk on the structures put in place, the year 2023 witnessed remarkable improvement in the provision of health facilities, ensuring that citizens have access to affordable and accessible healthcare delivery. Education, we all know that before now how the Boko Haram incidents has been a problem to us, and what they were saying, Western education is taboo. The governor is on his oath to ensure that he has revived the education sector to ensure future development of citizens. Not forgetting our brothers and sisters that were displaced by the insurgency and the governor's commitment, moving irrespective of weather, time, and hard-to-reach locations to provide succor to citizens in terms of humanitarian support and giving them that hope that yes, they have something in the future to do, taking them or making them understand that the hopelessness of this Boko Haram will soon be over, and giving hope and livelihood support to ensure that they pick up their pieces and then continue with life as it used to be. Restoration of peace in Borno, people can attest that yes, peace has gradually returned to Borno. People go about their normal life. For somebody coming out of the country, out of the state, only feels about Borno, you look at it from a different perspective. But when you come here, you begin to wonder if at all this is the Borno people have been talking about outside the state. Life has returned. And then the last 4.5 years of Governor Zulum, there were remarkable improvement in terms of structures, infrastructure. If you come into the state capital, you certainly know that there is a governance, there is a government in place, which means Zulum is working. And people have been attesting to it. We appreciate the support they've been giving to the government, understanding his style of leadership, what he means by service delivery and good governance. I can talk on and on and on, but the truth is that in the last 4.5 years of Governor Zulum in Borno State, there's a remarkable improvement in terms of all aspects of human endeavor.
The governor has been a humanitarian governor even before the removal of the subsidy. And I am proud to say that my governor was the first governor that began the distribution of food palliatives, and again he was the first governor who launched the mass transit so that he could ease the means of transportation, especially to the farmers, which by everybody knows the people of Borno are mostly farmers, especially the masses. Everybody's seen how he has given them free transport so that this will help them to go to their farm and by also make them to cultivate their crops back home successfully.
For us, he's the only governor because he's someone that has the political will. He has the commitment, and most importantly, he has his people at heart. And if you combine these three elements, there is no way you will not get somebody like His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum. Now, as a member of his cabinet, you have no option but to support him, because you have a leader that is leading by example. You have someone that does not sleep. So who are you to go and sleep? You have someone that is so compassionate, so caring about the security situation, about the agricultural situation, about resettlement, about reconciliation, about reintegration, about educating the girl child. Who am I, as a mere commissioner of Women Affairs and Social Development, that I will not support you? It's the paradigms are already on ground. There's a benchmark. So if you don't key into what Professor Babagana Zulum is doing, you are already a failure. You understand? So the leadership, the political will, the commitment, the dedication, and compassion for everyone in Borno State leaves us with no option. We are on standby 24/7. There is no commissioner that you say, it's weekend, it's after 6. That does not exist in our agenda, because your principal is someone that leads by example. And so it is compulsory, it is a must that we must employ all the strategies, all the energy that exists in us to ensure that the 10-pact agenda, the 25-year development plan, the 10-year strategic plan of Borno State works. As a Commissioner for Women Affairs, poverty must be brought to zero. Our girls must go to school, both within and outside Nigeria. People living with disabilities must be given their chance to survive, to exist. Children must benefit, they must have rights to education, rights to shelter, right to good health. And that is why the child rights law has been domesticated in Borno State. And that is why the VAP law is well implemented. We have removed the stigma that is associated with being a victim of rape. We have had so many, over 600 convictions of people that have raped from across the state in the last couple of years. And this is because the culture of silence is no more. Speak out. The governor's wife is our ambassador. She leads. We have gender desks in all the police stations. We are having maximum support from the traditional rulers. The religious leaders are supporting us because our leader is in the forefront.
For one, he's a professor. For two, he came from a very humble beginning and he saw how education became a catalyst for him to reach these heights. And education is a key sector, is the fundamental of human capital development. Every developed society has a good literacy index. So I believe these are reasons enough for him to invest massively in the education sector. His Excellency has returned 15 rural schools and more than the 10 mega schools out of the 30 commissioned were all in rural areas. And that has created significant access to children who were in that community who initially did not have access to school. When you go back to those communities, you will now see the presence of schooling, which was not there before. You see, the governor is at the strategic level. He gives the directives. We at the operational level, ours is to implement the directives. So we would ensure that we work on his vision and the focus to see that education is given to the less privileged child, qualitative education. And this is part of our pillar in our 25-year development plan and our 10-pact agenda. So we shall key into it and ensure that this is achieved.
At the bottom of my heart, I want to express my sincere appreciation to all of you that voted us into another phase of public service. Again, I commit to making sure that we shall work 100% for the benefit of all residents of Borno State, regardless of political, ethnic, and religious persuasions. I want to assure you, the people of Borno State, that the victory you have granted us will neither make us arrogant, nor will it make us to take you for granted.
And that's our package on this episode of Borno Restoration. Many thanks for watching. I am Jesse Tafida. See you next time. Bye-bye.